finals team that when everything's on the line, when everything isn't just falling apart, they clutch up and they just nail it every single time. They're probably, I mean, arguably still one of the best in the world regardless, and excited to see what they can do. But Lee, it is Miramar indeed. The first map is live, game number 6, day number 2. Welcome all, welcome one. It's been a fantastic day yesterday, and honestly, I think it's going to be another interesting one today.
So we're seeing teams, obviously we've seen it throughout the North American circuits. We have a lot of teams that will adjust based off the playing path. I noticed CrowCrowd have been doing it quite a lot. Obviously, I had a relative success on Miramar yesterday. First out the plane, looks like they're going to maybe go straight down Valladolid. Now, obviously, we saw a team down in Valladolid. I think Vitality went Valladolid at one point, right, yesterday. Teams adjusting to these plane paths. They ordinarily expected them to sort of drift the way over to Los Leones, but it doesn't look like it's the case. I'm trying to see if there's any other changes. Yeah, they're definitely going Valladolid. So these might be adjustments. Obviously, a lot of teams, they would have gone back to their houses. And I spoke to a lot of them. They're like, yep, I'm going to go back. I've got 4 hours of VODs to watch. So it's like, okay, all right, they're going to grind their way through it. And that is the dedication that is required to be here at this level. It is.
At the end of the day, you have to put the time and effort in. It's as simple as that. And you have to be able to kind of spin around in a pinhead and do the individual kind of players that you want. Obviously, this plane, we'll talk about some... Oh, Circle pops in. Okay, there's your first one. We can adjust and kind of pivot and talk about the teams where they're going to be dropping and where they have dropped, should I say, not where they're going to be. The playing pathway, for me, obviously straight diagonally through the map, it opens it up so everyone essentially can get what we would call their home position.
Yeah. But we're seeing changes from it. Like, Jokers are going to get up to La Cabrera, it's this thing up. We're seeing Navi up in Campo Militar and Tierra Bronca. Now, ordinarily, they would be down in Impala, and I'm pretty sure they could have dropped down to Impala, but they felt maybe they needed adjustments. Now, that's a long way out. That's position we saw. I believe it was G2 that went up into there in the final game of the day, but I'm pretty sure it was G2 that bailed out up that way. Someone definitely went Campo Militar right towards the end.
Was it Winstrike? I think they dived straight out the plane. Whichever one it was when the plane went straight out of it. It was just one of those where it's the... where you pretty much just do it as I call it the reciprocity one, because that's what we saw during Mince, where it was as soon as the plane comes in, just adjustment drop, get out of it, get your feet down.
Yeah. It's something we saw a lot of the American teams start to develop, and then a lot of European teams have started to slowly move into it. It took them a long time because they were very much fixed in their ways. But it seems it's working out. First phase, there's a man that had a very good day yesterday, solid single performance. Himself in a position, I even said to him, I said, Dave, ordinarily you're meant to, when you're the solo player, you are meant to just, belly crawl it, snake it in there, get out of the way, but it wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. He went for the fight, took it on, Winstrike, a little bit surprised by it, no doubt about it, and Vitality said, yeah, I think we owe him a beer after that one, because Vitality had one knocked. I think it was Nasus that got knocked. Jazza came in, got the revive in, because of the distraction, because FaZe got involved, got himself those big old hits.
They shouldn't have won that one yesterday.
No,
and again,
never.
It's the whole story of PUBG. You've got to be able to... It's a reactive game, right? If you get a third party, not only do you have to deal with that third party, but most importantly, you have to be aware of the third party. The third party, you got to look at the numbers and play the numbers game. Always have the IGL calculating where teams could potentially strike from, and this is why a lot of the teams we see now have that back-ended player who will sit back, who will be a scout to watch for snakes in the grass, so to speak. I mean, we almost saw it day one, game one. TSM had the absolute blistering performance, and then all of a sudden it was one of the ENCE boys at the end that could have just completely destroyed it, almost picked up the 3 versus 1, individually knocked out 2, went for Roar at the end, Rory clutched it.
Very nearly got it as well.
Literally super, super close, and if you're not keeping track of these individual players left at the end, they do cause problems like that, and we've seen it time and time again, and we will only see it continue.
So let's talk about this circle. Obviously, it is a Western circle, and it's interesting to talk about mainly because just like, say, with a coastal circle, there is probably about 30–40% of the circle that actually is no man's land. Nobody can go into it, which immediately in itself makes this phase 1 quite important. The positioning, getting central, trying to get as best a spot as you can because it's limited territory. While it is a massive first circle, the fact that there is that massive cutoff of land causes problems. And we should also mention El Pozo is plumb center, which nobody really wants to go into just yet.
There's also a further extension to that kind of story, if we expand on it a little bit. Not only is that area of the map no man's land, but but you would expect it to shift away from that naturally. So, and nobody's going to want themselves backed up into a corner against that cliff face. So these people will naturally migrate more towards the central reservations of the towns. They'll linger around the roads, the hillside, more on that eastern coast. West area, you would think, may potentially be dead. Certainly, if you go up against the western side, I think you will be dead. Oof. Jimbo, unfortunately, will be the first victim of this game as Sixmo knocks him and confirms him. So, our first player will fall, and for many Team Liquid fans out there, it will be James.
Yeah, first one of the day. That's not the position that really anybody wants to be in. I know a couple of you guys have been talking about the longer breaks between the games. Well, he's got himself about a 50-minute wait right now. Sat there. It's one of those moments of when you are the first to go down, especially when you've just gone through that entire loot cycle and you're like, okay, you got the boring bit out of the way. Let's get going. Let's get going. But no. CrowCrowd on the move, and they're going to go up the western road. And obviously, with the Valendelmar drop that they had, they've left one behind, actually. We'll give them a chance to get into a really favorable position. This crate finally popping in. It's going to be the AUG, obviously level 3 items, etc., and the ghillie suit. And it's the better ghillie suit for this one. No green ghillie suits this time.
A mass abundance of players will hit through Cobaria. We'll see Navi, potentially Hawaii follow through. Recrent is just behind them, so he might have some sort of information that'll be feeding up to Navi. They may potentially go for some kind of setup on this one. Actually, we can see it on the map, and they're opting to go further afield and up into the north, just skirt the edge of the water, little pond areas, to try and get some sort of a better angle on where Navi might be setting up for this, because they can give them a choke point if they're not careful. Set still, going for a couple of bullets, see if he can land a shot. I've already, James have been lost on the rotation, unfortunately. Still upwards of his team can scout out these compounds if his team wants to move up. And again, they have gone pretty deep into the circle. They've not rested and sat back, which I appreciate and respect. But Team Liquid are absolutely sending it. They're not central. They're going more towards that cliff face, which I think generally might not be the best play. They are pro players and they know more than what I do. Personally, I wouldn't be sticking myself in there because I think you're always going to be playing off the back foot, but the advantage of where they are is it's almost dead central. It's
a position they played a lot at. If you think back to GLL Stockholm, they used this position. We actually had quite a lot of similar circles.
You do have a good defilade. That's what you can work with.
Day one in Stockholm, GLL, we had probably about 3 or 4 of these circles back to back. I seem to remember because we did 5 Miramar once. And it was very similar circles. And they tend to drift in, obviously, across. But as you mentioned, CrowCrowd are in the spot that they kind of want to move into. They'll still kind of go across. You go further afield, where you're going into FaZe Clan. So it's a tough old run to try and get across there. Chris sending it up the hill there, rallying in his Murado. M19 and ENCE, the only 2 teams that are yet to get inside the circle, long way out. TSM just trading items, obviously, finally grouping up to separate the meds and ammo, etc., and make sure everybody's well balanced out in terms of loot. Razor Edge still making their way in along with Navi up in the north here, still kind of running parallel with one another, trying to find that best central position. Literally everybody, other than Winstrike, who have decided to go for El Pozo, I think is where they dropped actually, kind of trying to position themselves in as many compounds as they can around that main city.
I suppose the question is for Razor Edge, are they playing this one to try and be sneaky and get ahead of Navi? Are they actually watching them and purposely trying to force them to the point where
keep them out?
Yeah, it's literally no return. As you can see, they are constantly staying in front of them.
They've rotated way up north as well because of it. So Razor Edge have come in. They've obviously forced them. Yeah,
you would assume it's calculated, and they're doing it as the circle fixates. Again, pull slightly away from the left-hand side, but El Pozo just to the north, and the main majority of the players smack bang in the middle. The issue here is there isn't too much free ground. I mean, we kind of saw it from NIP yesterday, and FaZe and Vitality, all just kind of lingering around the edges of the cities and trying to make best of a bad situation, so to speak. So Pozo is a potential crash site. Just dive on in there and get yourself into a building and, hope the circle comes your way and you can get some sort of a compound fight. AWM 4 times. Oof. It's nice to see an AWM with a scope in the crates as well. Sometimes we don't get those scopes. And you do have to trade it with your friends, but gives them a free 4 times, so the big green machine is in play. Scores on the doors on the left-hand side will constantly be on the live ranking situation. Kemba, though, sees Fast Rail on the transition, looking for somewhere to set up shop, but unfortunately says this one is closed.
Yeah, ENCE still a long way out in the circle. They're coming in through the blue still. M19 also creeping in. So they're the only two teams that are outside of it. Everybody else repositioning now. TSM slowly moving closer, trying to get in as much as they can. Looking at FaZe Clan's position, while they are central, it's a little bit of a tricky, dangerous position, honestly. Based on the fact that because they've got the hillside position, there's not really a compound up there. They're going to have to be careful because there's a lot of teams starting to consolidate around them that are going to have angles on them. We saw Red Diamonds coming in. We saw Digital Athletics moving closer. Oh, Squeaky. That's not what you want. He's out in the blue. That might actually be Squeaky done. Is he going to try and get revived? I think someone's pulled up to try and revive him. Nookie maybe trying to get on there. Nookie won't be. He'll be Mikas. Nookie, it would be interesting because Nookie's on Winstrike, so it would be a very interesting position if he tried to revive him. But yeah, Vitality got themselves in spot. Everybody's comfortable. Phase 2, just about waiting for ENCE and M19 to make an appearance.
And this is where you'll see a couple of the snipers, but mainly the DMRs. Obviously, the SLR is it's the main, I say it's the weapon of choice. That and the Mini is kind of meta, if you will have it. Obviously, you're seeing a couple of ARs floating in between. And again, without a bit of the up-close and personal engagements, but D-Mash with the SLR, Tab with the Mini on the backside, Rory with the AK if anyone wants to push forward. He's got the M4 on Michael as well, so everyone's kitted up pretty well, ready for the long-term engagements if they have to take them. Morocco with the Scar in his back pocket if they had to breach one of these compounds and take a fight, as they will find themselves just trying to find a decent place to set up shop. It's going to be difficult this late in the game, unfortunately. Everybody, especially with this circle, the fact that everyone decided to go central anyway, you're always going to have an abundance of problems.
Well, Raise Your Edge do get themselves into position at last. Obviously, Senya's took down the one already. NIP creeping in on the top north there, you can see. Northwest side. So Navi did manage to come down. They've actually almost occupied where Team Liquid were. TL, of course, have managed to cheat their way across the road, sneaking in as best they can. NIP do finally find themselves a home, but it's only going to be a very temporary one. You can see the blue about to buffer onto the circle, and phase 3 about to pop. Just a couple of seconds remaining. Will it center up? Will it continue in that path? It's going to start causing some of these teams some real headaches. It is going to go actually towards El Pozo. That's going to make it interesting. I guess ENCE are going to have to send it for it.
Just about to say, ENCE have probably played the
wow,
from not only above but through the air. All tanked up, 2 players fall back to back. Teamy and Tixu there. Easy 2 points for them. Just G2 trying to find a player sold on the map here, but ENCE have played the long con here. They've decided to play this extremely late game. Wait.
They've just caught Brex to go as well.
Oh no,
it's
G2.
A little close to that Mirado. I don't know how much they've crawled away from it. It's hard to tell, obviously, with this angle. Mirado will go up. Chris is going to be fine. They have managed to back away from it enough as expected.
But again, when you're in a field like that, now you've got no vehicle, there's nothing they can do, so they just have to hope that nobody... Oh, while all this has been going down, then TSM made an advancement on the rush. Initial knock comes through, Nookie's down. Jorski's still trying to stay alive, grenades are coming through thick and fast, that's 2. They can now take this position away from Winstrike and maybe advance forward. They know where Nookie is, just hiding around the corner because the knock did come through, so they'll have that level of information. Wookie's still scouting, hoping someone else is up close and personal, but again, you've got to have your head on a swivel. That all came from them just focusing, hard focusing, if you would say, onto G2, that TSM took full advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a simple third party, and it's what they did. You know, we saw the damage stats earlier on, you know, with so many kills, 42 kills, I think it was overall, with less damage than G2, who had done 25 kills. It's all about that third party, and that's what the name of the game is.
Really quickly, I don't think ENCE went fast enough, because you've just seen Raise Your Edge have literally took the position of where ENCE will be entering El Pozo. Now they're going to have to readjust and go elsewhere.
CrowCrowd and M19 clashing down the southwest corner here. Alf Plays has managed to get Constantine down. Oh, that could be a really good nade. You can see he's trying to low ball it, like say, not just around the corner. He's expecting someone to just be the other side of that wall. They're actually not. They're in the building. And as soon as he peaks a little too far, he has got the aerial support, the Overwatch effectively coming out from set with that Kar 98, taking pot shots on them. Constantine has got himself in, but it is definitely not a safe res. Certainly won't be calling for it just yet as the rest of the team get the smokes down. They're going to go for it. You can see Set lining it up there, but the smoke should be covering him now.
Smokes are there, so they might be able to get the res if he can get into a safe position, but again, with 16 teams alive, 58 individual players. For this level of circle, it's always going to be rough. There isn't much room to breathe at the moment. Brexico and Chris have actually been given a bit of a lifeline. They do have an entire field behind them, so they only kind of have to watch one way. But again, not much to play with. 2 players and a couple of hair barrels. Drayden off on his own from the Knights while the rest of his teammates do advance forward, so they'll be getting a split. Drayden will play the, what's the word I'm looking for? The emergency backup. If they do need to reposition, he'll be there. Circle. And it actually kind of goes his way.
Wow.
So now Drayden, by sitting there, potentially can hold this one down and stop anyone advancing in, just be the warning shots. But the rest of the Knights can actually move back to him.
Oh, dream for you. Catches elite player, and he's going to get Enoch as well as he comes around the corner. That's going to be easy for him. ENCE getting knocked by the blue somewhere in there. The play zone putting damage on FaZe. How did that happen? Where on earth was he? I can only imagine there was a crash issue or something there because he's not with the rest of his team. Just wanted to go while the dream for you tries to actually finish off the rest of M19, who had a torrid time yesterday. Really impressed with Digital Athletics rotation. They were basically wedged between Red Diamonds, CrowCrowd, and M19 that we're seeing here, and FaZe Clan. Yet they've managed to get across the road, and now on the prime hillside with this next circle. TSM, we can see lighting them up in the picture-in-picture down the bottom here, doing some absolute work on
dead.
Raise Your Edge, and they are done. First team down for the day.
Yeah, TSM have just completely wiped them out, and that was the push to El Pozo. They banked on trying to stay in there, unfortunately, but as they come down from the hills, they do completely wipe out RYE. Some nice points for TSM, especially when they're top of the board, top of the charts. We just saw a couple of kills and knocks coming across. Gempty also. G2 still doing work with 2 individual players alive in the kill feed. That's pretty good. Dream for you. Doesn't realize someone lingering in the window. M19 get one back for all the damage he's been doing to him so far. But the rest of the team's up on the hillside. Dink, dink, knock, knock. See you later, boys. Only one of them left, and that's going to be knocked.
You love to see a quick double tap like that. That's it. Going to be M19 in all manner of problems. You know, the last man, how's he going to get out of it? Alf plays, gets himself healed up. He's going to have the cover. In fact, he's just going to try and go and flush it. He knows that he's not sat in there just trying to heal himself up. While this is happening, you can see in the kill feed that Chris has gone down to Pittsburgh Knights. They seem to have themselves a real strong position. That did not go the way Alf plays planned it. That certainly did not work out. How many? He's got plenty of meds. He can still get out of this position. Navi now trying to scramble up the hill, but they're getting caught in the back by FaZe.
Yeah, TSM are also in another battle again. This time it's with the Jokers. Everyone just lingering on the edge of this old Pozo side. Navi and Winstrike still on the rotation. Samty goes down. ENCE doing damage on both sides. Another member of TSM and another member of Liquid. They're down to 1 apiece, I believe, here. Jokers and the Knights taking a man a person, but we've still got this TSM Jokers battle.
Yeah, and then they're getting third party by ENCE as well. You saw the long-range shots from ENCE. Kemba's going to go around for the flush. He's going to catch one. Will get the second. The TSM will go down in 15th place. A great start for them yesterday, but we are back to reality for game number 1. We were talking about ENCE. They got the third parties. They're sitting pretty right now, coming out of the north side of El Pozo, while there's this 4-way battle right now between FaZe, NOP, Navi, and the Jokers, all going off on the hills.
Great play from Kemba. Unfortunately catches TSM with the pants down. They were healing as he did fly around the corner, managed to just mop up what was left of them. The blue did a fair bit of damage. But unfortunately for Pokemolodoy, his teammate has fallen down, but he will be able to at least answer back as Ninjas in Pyjamas go down. He spots him at distance. That's the headshot with the mini to at least jump their position and get them a point on the board.
Look at FuzzFace. He just sent it over the road in the vehicle to try and cut off Navi's escape pattern here. Joker's coming the other side as well, so FuzzFace is going out there. Uber is still way out in the blue, though. Mexi's gone and dusted. NIP, of course, just going down a moment ago. The rest of the teams, Enoch, by the way, still alive, way out in the blue. And now he's got even further to go. The circle, that is a horrible, horrible circle, by the way. ENCE are in a brilliant position while they've come in so late. They've got the entire north side. And Navi just eliminated by grenades from D-Mash.
Just like that, Jokers are absolutely walking away with this game. He not, unfortunately.
Waited so long.
Yeah, he just hits the blunt end of a brick wall. Down he goes. Uber will do what he can to try and survive the blue. How many are we actually down to for FaZe? Okay, so Fuzz is directly in front of him. Might be able to give him some meds, potentially. You've got to be careful of Senna, though, with this AWM. Oh, Fuzz knows there's nades now. Oh, you know what? If they're not looking his way, he might get lucky here. Has he got any nades on him?
He's gone for the Molly push. Tries to just keep them at bay, if anything. Uber now Coming out of the blue, will they be ready for him coming out of the blue? Because they've just dealt with two teams over there. I'm not sure they will.
This angle's pretty dirty because it's a weird one. As in, he'll just be able to, if he gets the call out and the communication with Fuzz exactly where they are, he's doing enough damage. Fuzz trades back, but now it's time to push. They have spotted him though, whether he can survive 2 players. No, he cannot. FaZe Clan is eliminated.
And this is really good from Jokers. They're up to 12 kills and counting now. They're having a cracking game. They had a really bad start yesterday, but it seems like they're finding their footing. The team that finished first in Minsk, we expected big things from them. Back down the south, you can see Set here, but I'm really interested to see what Red Diamonds are about to do because they're coming right up on the Pittsburgh Knights. You can see them on the hill. Pin's about to come silhouetted straight onto Kramer.
Players of Red Diamonds hitting the deck here. Vitality. It's time for them to make the move. They've been sacked for a while now in this compound, but the blue is encroaching upon their position. And unfortunately, it's going to be between a rock and a hard place. You look to the left, you've got Red Diamonds. You look to the right, you've got the Pittsburgh Knights. This might be all she wrote for Vitality, unfortunately, as 8 men are on top of that hill, literally staring down the barrel, just awaiting them to come out of this compound.
Yeah, I just wonder, I'd kind of maybe like to see Digital Athletics getting involved in this. They've got the compound just to the behind both these two teams, so they could get a good amount of third partying going on. Vitality, well, as expected, they're kind of being picked apart down that hillside, but now they're hearing the shots coming out from Red Diamond. They realize there's someone nearby. Nasus, who's had a fantastic game for Vitality in his opening appearance here for the team, he's going to go down, and it's Red Diamonds in the end that will steal our last kill. Kramer, 1 hit point, gets himself back on his feet. Pin gets pinned down. Voxic comes in. Kramer deals the damage, and now they're pushing towards him. Grenade's going to go a little too far. Voxic will be safe from that one as Kramer tries to go down low. Hallow Senpai spots him out, gets the knock, but has to back away in the blue. It's going to be hurting right now. This is phase 5.
It does so much damage. It's time to run. Mollies are going up and over. At least keep them at bay. That's all they're trying to do, but... Uh-oh. Out of the frying pan, straight back into the fire. You've got to continue. You see behind them, as you mentioned, Digital Athletics. You've got to be careful of these shots. They now know what's going on. There's still 4 of them alive.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I wanted them to do, but it's just been, they were spotted so early, it seems. Obviously, some shots went astray. Beautiful Death getting caught out there, and Red Diamonds have just turned on them. Iro returns with an native himself. Didn't have a great day yesterday, but he'll pick up a kill on the Beast from the east. Best lot goes down. Now, Pittsburgh Knights are getting sniped. They're coming over the silhouette, and ENCE are having a field day. If you were to look at the circle, they occupy 70% of it right now. ENCE absolutely beast in the circle while this battle plays out on the hill.
Doozy will be able to get the heals off. Whether they rush for this one while they've got the initial knocks is a different question altogether. It might be the best player to do it. Ira obviously been very aware that this could be a real scenario. Grenades are coming up and over. This gives them the information that they're trying to get themselves back together. Down comes the hammer though. The 7.62 for the AKM. It won't be good enough. He gets the knock, but Ira answers back. Honestly, I think he'll have to move. Unfortunately, it'll be the walking wounded. All these 3 guys, they're going to die to the blue.
Yeah, he's got to leave his entire team behind. Winstrike on his back as well. Tixon team, look at that. That's 3 points right there. For some of them, can get maybe a grenade in quick before it happens. But they're getting sniped from distance. The Jokers turn on Winstrike. The second they try and go looking for a third party, they instantly get shot in the back. 13 kills and counting for the Jokers. A cracking game for them. Meanwhile, ENCE still the circle champions right now. G2 have a player in there. 15 kills and counting as Winstrike get eliminated in 7th.
Dominating shows on screen. What a performance so far from these boys. They are just mopping up players left, right, and center. However, you've got to be aware, ENCE, they're geared up and they're playing the long game. They have vehicles, they have the map. They're very spread out, so if you can take the individual battles or they can put on the Joker side, remember, Senna still has this AWM in the level 3s. If he can put this to use and get a couple of picks, he might be able to make something happen.
Meanwhile, over the side there, you can see that...
they're getting open up
I think Iro's going to catch it. Rustamar catching Kemba as he comes down the hillside. Now, they are split, so if they do get a knock, generally, you're going to have to use a lot of smokes, a lot of resources to try and get that revive in. But it also gives them a massive amount of territory. The headshot coming out of Trifoli. And one thing we know about ENCE, one thing we know about Jokers is they both can frag heavily. Senya getting taken down. That was the AWM. He's done and dusted. Ibiza just pops out of nowhere. Team Liquid still in the top 6. Pittsburgh Knights 1 alive. And I think Iro 1 alive. So everybody with a solo player other than ENCE have 4 alive.
They're on a good proportion of the map. Rexico all the way up against the edge. Tab. See if Circle does kind of go his way, which it does. If he can stay there for now, but he is locked in by Ibiza. Brexico has to come in. You'd expect he's pretty much a dead man walking at this point. To get inside the circle will be hell for him because 3 to 4 players will have his number. Drayden's going to pre-stim and get ready for the push here. He knows there is one player still lingering somewhere, maybe more. Remember, there's 2 battles already gone on here, so fair play to him for being hyper-aware that this is a real situation. I'm seeing a K98 on the back of Iris, so if he needs to take a long game to move someone out of position, he can do.
Look at Mikaz's movement. He's just managed to make a move, go send it down, and he took another hay bale. So now ENCE just occupy the majority of the circle, while Drayden and Iro, they still continues to look. Brexico's still got a long way to crawl in as well. This is really a battle for 5th at the moment. It's going to be Iro surely that finds him. Will be a simple double tap to the back of the head there as Drayden goes down and the Knights go out in 6th place. They had a magnificent day yesterday, but this is looking like the best finish so far for Digital Athletics, laying him down a smoke wall to try and occupy. They're actually using it as a fake. Yeah, using it as a bait to try and sneak around some of those hay bales.
Unless he runs back through it, he might be looting. He'll take Drayden's gear and then continue forward. We'll see. I don't really think he's got much chance, to be honest with you, because of how spread ENCE are.
He's going for it. He's just going for it.
It's a really good... I like what they've done. They've made full use of them having 4 up, and they've taken such a vast majority of the map in that, in theory, you can lock all these individual players in. You can't snake this one. There's no grass. There's no hiding. You come out of the corner, unfortunately, you're going to die.
The solo players, it's almost written that it's ENCE that will to pick up the victory here. Those grenades going towards Iro. You can see the damage it just did to him, and it will take him down. The second one comes through, and Mikaz will finish off Iro's solo performance. Now it's Tab and Ibiza, Liquid and Jokers just hanging on. No matter where Jokers finish right now, they've got themselves a massive points haul with their kill differential. You can see Team Liquid, they've just got the solo kill, which Ibiza got a moment ago on the Jokers as they made that push. ENCE, while they're sitting pretty, they held the center circle. They held, well, about 80% of the circle in all truth. And it's really just a little solo performance as Tab catches Ibiza. Doesn't quite finish him.
So ENCE now have the information exactly, literally exactly where the last 2 players are. So this is an easy game for them. They just play it slow, play it methodical, wait for the numbers. I mean, for Tab and Ibi, if one of those can knock the other player, you're at least getting something back from this game, right? You're picking up a point before you go down. So for them two,
I mean, they just need to hold the angles. You see the circle update, it's basically gone ENCE's way, so now they have to move, right? There's nothing they can do. 4 pairs of sights trained on each individual position. It's really a case of these two. They just want to take each other out because they know it's first or second. Who blinks first? It's Joker actually. That's Jokers that are furthest in the blue. So it's going to be Tab that's going to have to move first, based on the fact that the blue will force him to.
You got to think between these 2 kills, it's a point and it's a placement, regardless which way you can actually do this one. It's a point and a placement, so it's quite important for these 2 guys to keep an eye. Again, pressure's now coming from ENCE, pre-fire from the Tab. Blue's going to probably eat him alive, and he doesn't have to give this away. If he steps out, then, you know, he's just offering a point to Team Liquid. Yep. Down he goes.
Not going to be able to tank it up quick enough there. They're going to push on towards Ibiza. They just flood around the corner now. He tries to run away.
He'll probably do the same.
Yeah, just going to try and suicide, and he does manage to get away with it. So he actually got knocked, a hit,